Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Scream Scene. I'm your host, Jody Dean. Today, we have some horror news we are going to talk to you guys about. We're going to talk about Scream Boat Willie. Now, for anybody that doesn't know about Scream Boat Willie is actually Steamboat Willie. I'm assuming uh, that the writer, director, Stephen Lamorte, uh put this twist on the title, for one, just because it sounds cool, Scream Boat Willie, but also because some rights to certain characters came about more recently. They've opened up to where we've now seen Winnie the Pooh get a slasher film. There's a spinoff with Piglet, totally different people doing it. And I'm guessing it would appear that Steamboat Willie was up for grabs. But just to make sure that we stay away from all legal troubles, Steven may have called it Screamboat instead of Steamboat. I'm not 100% sure. It might just be because it sounds cooler. However, these are issues that filmmakers are a little bit worried about. The one reason I have heard from many different people, excuse me, not just reviews, but I've heard from many different people that, Disney is not so worried about people that don't have a direct connection to characters they've used in the past. In other words, they weren't that worried about Winnie the Pooh because people could watch Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey and obviously see that this was not a Disney film. It was a slasher film. There was naked chicks, there was blood, there was honey. There was a lot of murder. It's not a Disney film. So supposedly, they're depending on how something is done, they might not pursue you in a lawsuit. Whatever the case may be, I really like the title, man. What do you guys think about Screamboat Willie? Are you excited? Have you heard about it? Are you getting sick of the fact that filmmakers are taking your childhood memories and turning them into killers now? I personally am not. I am a huge lover of horror, and I love somebody who will take something and put a twist on it and make something new, breathe new life into it, and put it out there for the horror lovers. I don't care if it's Bambi, which, by the way, Bambi is getting a horror film. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it's going to be interesting to see. Let's read the synopsis here for Scream Boat Willie. A late night boat ride turns into a desperate fight for survival in New York City when a mischievous mouse becomes a monstrous reality. Can a motley crew survive a killer creature with a taste for tourists? Interesting. Now, this is a comedy horror. I did not know that until just now. I just seen that. Steve is saying that this film is going to come out in 2025. I'm a little shocked right now that it's a comedy horror. I had no idea. I did interview Steven a while back. That interview's here on the channel. Definitely go back and check it out. Great guy. I hope to possibly work with him at some point in the future. I don't know how, but when I talk to some of these guys, I always say, hey, look, if you're ever in a pickle, or if you're not in a pickle, if you just want something good, man, reach out to me, because I do so much, guys. And I'm not just all about myself making my own projects. If I can help somebody else, I'd love to. And when it comes to horror, I produce really good horror music. I'm pretty freaking good at special effects makeup. There's a lot of things I bring to the table. So I would love to just have my name intertwined with people's work that I respect. And I hope to work with people in that aspect in some way, shape, or form. I'm pretty excited about this. One thing that Steve did that I really enjoyed was the mean one, which is basically a horror version of The Grinch. It was very well done. It was nicely shot. There was some good acting. There was a lot of cool kills and things like that. And it was just a great film. That's kind of how I went down the rabbit hole, and I was like, let me check out, this Steve guy. And I seen the main one. We did the interview, and he's already worked with David Howard Thornton. For anybody that doesn't know, David Thornton is the one that plays Terrifier in all the Terrifier films and the franchise. David is a great actor. I've seen a few comments over the last few years. And for the most part, everybody loves David, but I've seen a few comments that people have said, "How do we know he's a great actor? He doesn't talk in the role of Terrifier." Well, it's very, very hard to be menacing, to deliver a performance with nothing but expression and movement. And this guy does it so well. Very impressed with David. And now it has been announced that David will be playing Screamboat, Screamboat Willie. So it's just called Screamboat. We know who it is. It's going to be interesting to see first looks of Screamboat, a teaser, the trailer, whatever we get, behind the scenes pictures, a poster, a different poster other than, what we've seen here in the beginning pre-production stages. But it looks like producers from Terrifier have joined forces. And now we've got David in this thing. It's starting to pick up momentum. A lot of people are talking about it. They're writing about it. And I don't even believe they've filmed a single thing yet. We're seeing this happen a lot in the horror world, in the horror genre. Us horror fans, the horror community, the horror junkies out there absolutely geek out when we hear about something that we can kind of just get excited about something in the pipeline. We do that. I don't see that with like romance films and like comedies and stuff. I only see that in the horror pocket. But let's look at some of the people he's got in this. We got David Howard Thornton. We got Jesse Posey, Jarlath Conroy, Rumi Jean Lewis, Allison Patel, Anthony Williams, Jesse Cove, and that's all I see. But I also see something about Bambi here. That's gonna be another one. My buddy Scott Chambers, he did Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and he also is doing his horror version right now of Peter Pan. I believe he's calling it Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare, something like that. And I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes pictures and things. He's been really great about keeping people up to date, and that looks good. So there's just so many things that we grew up on that are getting a new spin. They're getting a new touch and a lot of blood, and it's entertaining. It's fun. I'm getting excited hearing about these things again before anything is even filmed. That is so powerful. In the horror genre, a poster can hit the internet and raise $100,000. A poster can hit the internet and instantly give a film a fan base before anything has been filmed. I don't know any genre like that. I don't know anything like that. That's just absolutely incredible. The only thing possibly comparable would be music. I do know when people hear a certain song, they love a song so much, they'll go down the rabbit hole. They'll find out the artist did this song, that song. They start binging them. Next thing you know, they're buying their posters, they're buying their merch, they're getting them tattooed on them. Music is the only other genre, only other thing I can think of that is so impactful that it has that kind of commitment from people. Like instantly, like your life is just about that. In the horror genre, man, I've never seen support like I've seen in the genre, in this field. And as a filmmaker, it really excites me because you never know what's going to hit. And I guess the filmmaking is similar to music in that aspect. When you put out a song, you don't know what the response is going to be. You don't know if it's going to be a hit song or not. However, I feel like the horror fans are definitely a little more intense than the music fans. I really do, man. I've never seen anything like it. There are like Comic-Con, HorrorCon conventions, and they get packed out. They get flooded out. Everybody dresses up like their favorite people. Everybody just they bring all their money. They work hard to save up money to go there and get autographs from their favorite actors and writers and directors, producers, and the vibes at these events is just mind-blowing to me. So I see Screamboat Willie having a lot of success. I'm sure this film is going to go to theaters, because this is what happens when a film hits the internet that hasn't even they haven't even started production. They're in the pre-production stages. When it hits the internet and instantly has a buzz, people are writing about it, talking about it. It keeps coming up. People keep sharing. It's almost like, where can I go watch this movie? Oh, you can't. It's getting made. That is powerful shit. That's when distribution companies, that's when studios, that's when people step in there and they say, hey, we're going to, just so you know, we want to work with you. We'll put money in this thing. We want to put this on the big screen. So you can guarantee you're going to be able to watch Screamboat Willie in theaters. Steve says it's coming 2025. I'm very excited, even more excited now that I know David's playing a killer once again. You know, it's interesting. A lot of people that become icons, that become iconic in the horror genre, they go on to just have a career in the horror genre. And that's not always the intention. If you ask a lot of actors, they'll say, I'm an actor. I'll do whatever. I might prefer this, but I'm an actor at the end of the day, man. I love to try different things. But whenever you're like a Sid Haig or David Howard Hawthorne, you know, you kind of get in this little pocket, in this bubble, to where all the horror fans are expecting you to be in a horror. Let me ask you this question. Anybody that knows David, could you see him playing in a romance film? I know he could do it because he's a good actor. But, like, do you want to see that? Could you imagine? Like, Sid Haig did a lot of different stuff besides what he did with Rob Zombie. But can you imagine, like, and maybe he did, I'm not aware, but can you imagine seeing Sid in, like, I don't know, a romance film? I could see him being in a comedy, but at the end of the day, I want to see him in horror. So it's interesting what being in a good horror film, a successful horror film, will do for you, for your career. And yeah, it's powerful, powerful shit. I talk about it so much. It's just inspiring. It's a lot of fun. It's really cool to know that if you enjoy a performance of somebody that you see on the screen, big screen or not, no matter where you see it, if you enjoy their performance, there's a chance that they're going to become an icon from it. They're going to end up being that person at those horror conventions, at those Comic-Cons, signing autographs. Like, they're probably going to have an action figure of themselves. You're probably going to see them on a wall at a Spencer's. Listen, I'm trying to get there. We had a lot of success with my first film, but I remember walking into a Spencer's one day and I seen Terrifier on the wall. I seen Hatchet. I see Freddy. I see all the iconic horror legends. And I remember I turned and I looked at my wife and I said, that's what I want. We're doing good right now, but that's what I want. Is it that I want it because of the power of the notoriety? No, that's just, I want to know what that is like. You know, just seeing my first film sell any DVDs at all, let alone it did really well. But that was just life-changing for me and inspiring. I already wanted to make films, but now I I live it and I breathe it, because there's nothing like making something and people actually seeing it. For people to respect it, to go the extra length, to wear it, to share it, to live it, to breathe it, man, that is power. That is power. And I don't mean the kind of power that's nasty, that nasty power. I mean, that's love, man. That's positivity. That's just incredible to see that something that lasted an hour and 20 minutes on a screen has now become something that you look forward to, that shapes your days, that shapes the ways. I know people are listening to this right now and they can relate, because even if you're not into horror as hardcore as I am, you're into something and this is relatable to you. You're like, "Ooh, man, there's this tennis player. I feel that way. I gotta watch everything they do. I gotta buy their rackets when they hit the store." Like, I'm like that, guys. Look at the background behind me. Even though I make horror films, I support every person making horror films because I just love the field. And whether they're on that wall or not, I probably feel the same way about them. But I just think that just shows that something you've done is so appreciated. And honestly, I see Screamboat Willie shirts and all kinds of promo hitting these stores. I think it's going to be a huge success. I'm very happy for Steven. You know, I talked to the guy, good dude. I always notice whenever I finish these interviews with people, I really know what kind of people they are. Because there's some people that are just, ego. Hey, let me promote my film and get the fuck out the door. And then there's people like Steven. There's people like Phil Falcone. There are a long list of people. I'm not going to go into it. There are people like them that if they know that you're in the same field and they truly love what they're doing, there's always that filmmaker conversation afterwards. When I did the first interview with Phil Falcone, producer of the Terrifier films, he did 1, 2, and 3. We talked for an hour and like 15 minutes after the interview ended. When Steven and I's interview ended, we didn't talk that long, but maybe like another 10 or 15 minutes. And just I told him about a haunted house attraction that I own in Fort Gaines, Georgia. And to see his excitement for like a haunted house, I was just like, dude, isn't it crazy what we all share? Like, we are connected in this horror vein. No matter how big, how small, money to the side. You guys know my thoughts on money. You got to have it. I want it to do more projects. Like, I'm not out there buying a Lambo. I'm not buying a nicer vehicle. I could do that. I don't do that. My personal thing is I like to make pictures at 10,000 a pop, and I like to see what I can do for that. I like to really be creative. And then if you lose, it's not like you've lost everything. You know what I'm saying? 10 grand is a lot of money, but when you're talking about a movie, an independent picture, even an indie horror film, that's a lot, but it's not a lot. When you see what we can do with 10,000 a picture, I think you'll understand why I do that too. It's not like I don't put out garbage, man. I put out good B movies, but super proud of Steven, the Terrifier crew, everybody, man. The list is forever long. The horror genre is very powerful. I love it so much. Can't wait to see Screamboat Willie. Let me know what you guys think about this film. Are you excited? Are you jacked? Are you getting upset that they're turning your childhood memories into these slaughter fest? Or are you like me? Like, you just can't wait to get to the theater. You want this film to be done now. And come on. Let's get the ball rolling. So I love you guys so much. Make sure you smash that thumbs up, comment below, share this on social media. I do post every week here. I can't talk today. So make sure your notifications are on, guys. And until next time, sweet nightmares.